Hey everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to go on a little adventure to go and try to find some, let's say, discounted plants. So I went to 3 different locations, 2 grocery stores in the Denver area, as well as one little boutique plant shop that just so happened to have a New Year's sale. So let's get started. I have to admit, some of my favorite plant stores are actually grocery shops because you can find really cool varieties of genus and species that you would be able to find at some of those higher end stores that are at a fraction of a price because they're at supermarkets. But with these 3 stores that we're going to visit, we're going to start first with the little boutique shop in Denver. It's called Recital Still, and it's a fairly new store that carries a nice and healthy collection of cacti, succulents, tropical plants, and a ton of other things. Their prices are actually pretty good, and oftentimes you'll find something here that's cheaper than many other plant stores. The most impressive part of their collection, though, in my opinion, is definitely their cacti and succulents. The Whole Foods in downtown Denver can be hit or miss. Right now, it only has a few planty options, including some alocasia, sansevieria, and ferns, but the prices only hover around $10.99. Outside of those options, you'll always find plenty of beautiful orchids here, as well as some money tree plants. The best option out of the 3, from what I saw, is my local grocery store, King Soopers. Not only did they have prayer plants, philodendron Birkin, Monstera adansonii for $6.99, but they also had some alocasia I had never seen before. That's a darn good price for plants of this size. But even more so, check out what they had on sale for $10.99. Some Thaumatophyllum, Monstera deliciosa, and a few palm options. Rarely does this grocery store disappoint me with its plant selection. So while at that boutique shop, I did end up getting 2 plants that are on sale, 20% off, including a little cactus, because I don't have too many cacti and I really kind of want to start learning them. And then I also got another little air plant for my air plant holders, and this one had some unique red coloring to it, so I thought it was really cool. So I'm looking forward to exploring more about that Transcendia, as they're called, air plants. But the 2 plants that I actually really adored and found at a super cheap price were at the King Soopers grocery store. Super cheap. Let's get started with that. Welcome back to my messy kitchen / plant workshop. Today, we are going to take a look at those 2 plants that I really fell in love with at our local grocery store, the King Soopers, which is only a couple blocks from me. And it's a plant that I had seen at plant shops in Denver for the last couple of years. And this is a Sansevieria moonshine. Sansevierias are so popular. You probably have them in your home in some form or fashion. There are about 60 different species of Sansevieria plants. This one, the moonshine, has these beautiful silvery leaves on it that are just absolutely stunning, and I love foliage, if I haven't explained to you guys before, but I'm really excited for this one. And what's interesting about Sansevierias is that in 2018, I believe it was, 2017, 2018, they were reclassified thanks to DNA sampling of the plants, and it turns out Sansevierias no longer exist, and they have been reclassified as Dracaenas. Dracaenas, another popular houseplant that you probably have in your home as well. I have at least, I think, 5 or 6 different kinds of species. There are more Dracaena species than there are Sansevieria. Again, about 60 Sansevieria species compared to, let's say, I think it's around 80 to 100 Dracaena species. So both very, very beautiful plants, but this plant known as Sansevieria no longer exists, but we will call it Sansevieria because old habits die hard, as they say. Man, people still call it that. Of course, its nickname is, grandmother's tongue or something like that. I had only heard that a couple years ago for the first time, but this plant, why I loved it so much, let me get rid of my slippers here. Don't need these slippers for this video until my feet get cold. But what I love about this plant so much is that not only is it absolutely stunning, but when I saw it at big plant shops, like boutique plant shops here in Denver, this plant was about like $50, $60 for a size like this. I got it at the grocery store and it came inside of this pot for $6.99. It was on sale at the King Soopers for $6.99. I just couldn't believe it. So I scooped it up and I took it out of this pot because it had a plastic pot on the inside, and then this one being ceramic. I drilled some drainage into this, but I'm not going to use this for this plant. I'm actually going to use, I don't even know where I put it. I have another pot for it. I'll find it in a second. But what I usually do is that I purchased this plant and another plant yesterday from the grocery store. And I usually like to let them acclimate for a couple of weeks, let them sit in their soil. But since this plant is the sort of plant that does not like to be sitting in wet soil, I need to repot it because this soil is absolutely soaking wet, and the roots that are on the bottom part of it, they're coming out, and the roots look really healthy. So I want to make sure this plant has its best chance at life as I possibly can get. So let me grab that pot that I have for it very quickly. Ta-da! I found it. It's an old pot that I got from an orchid plant that came inside of it, but I drilled some holes and drainage into it and around the side just to give it some extra drainage. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, man, this thing is like jam-packed into this small little container. I feel bad. What's cool about the Sansevieria moonshine species is that this plant can grow up to 6 feet tall. That's right, 6 feet tall, though its leaves will branch out maybe about 5 to 15 inches in length. So it kind of varies. And what we're doing here is just kind of loosening up the sides of this. In fact, what I might do is take these scissors and cut, because I know there's no roots along the side here, and I can cut into this. It's like performing surgery. And then just kind of tear this out. Oh, these roots look fantastic. I'm so excited for this. I couldn't believe it. $6.99, and it came with a pot. Yeah, these roots look great. And so what's cool about Sansevieria species is that you can kind of just separate them because they grow like pups on the side. And you can see with the rhizomes here where they would kind of dislodge. So I might be able to get a couple plants out of this. Now I can get rid of this. And I have a bowl of lukewarm water here. And I'm going to use that to kind of dislodge the soil that's built up around the side. Although I did pour a little bit too much. 1 second, I'm clearly not prepared for this. You know, I have to say, and I'm sure this is true for many of you, is that a Sansevieria was one of my first plants that I ever got. And what I love so much about these plants is that not only are they really super simple to care for, but they make such great statement pieces. They look so beautiful. They are, as I said, super easy to care for. And what I mean by that is they don't need a lot of light. You can put these in darker areas and they will survive. Now, a lot of people use that term low light plants. And I hate when I see like a plant at a shop and it has a sticker on it that says low light plant. Because the fact is that it's not that it wants low light, it can survive in low light. It's like us, you know, we don't mind being in the dark from time to time, but when push comes to shove, if it's sunny outside, that's where we want to be. Now, they do not want direct sunlight like any plant for the most part, unless you're talking about like succulents and cacti. They like it to be bright and direct, and when you do give them bright and direct light, these babies will grow so fast and so large that it's stunning. The one that I have, my first Sansevieria that I ever got is, it started off as a little baby, and that thing is now, I believe, like 4 feet tall, which is kind of crazy. Like I was saying, I have a couple different species of Sansevieria Dracaena, and out of those ones, my favorite I've had for about 3 years now, and that is the whale fin Sansevieria. I love it because it is, I would say that it's probably like, out of all my Sansevieria, it is the staple piece because it shoots up just this one gigantic leaf that looks like a whale's fin, hence its name. And so what's cool about that is that it's just, I mean, it's stunning, and I really love it. And it actually did shoot out a pup, and that pup has grown pretty large too. So I think what I'm going to do is, because this soil is a little bit thicker than I had hoped for, or it's lodged in there really well, and I don't want to disturb the roots, is that I've broken off enough of the soil, I believe, where I can kind of put some looser succulent cacti type soil alongside of it, because this is just regular soil from what I can tell, and that's not too conducive. But I also know that, you know, these aren't picky plants. Like I was saying, they're really easy, and you can put them in any kind of soil and they would do well. You only need to water them once a month, maybe twice a month. I water mine once a month, and during the summer twice a month, and sometimes I forget and they still thrive. So yeah, they're really simple to care for, and I still can't get over the fact that I found this for $6.99. Are you out of your mind? Okay, I'm going to loosen up some of those, and I am going to pour this baby out. I'll be right back. Now that it's all washed off, I have to show you guys the roots because they are super healthy. Look at those roots. Yeah, you can't go wrong with those. So I'm really, really excited for this plant. And it's super easy to propagate plant, by the way. All you need to do is basically just take your scissors, go down as far as you can on a leaf, cut it at the base, and then plop that leaf in some water. And after a couple of weeks, it'll start rooting out from the bottom of that leaf, and then you'll have a new plant to start potting up. So now that we have this and the pot that we have decided on, and by we, I mean me, being selfish here, Kevin, I'm going to take my mix here of succulent cacti soil, and I'm going to put a nice firm base layer in there, like so. And you know what's neat is that while these are plants, you know, they are succulent-like in terms of they hold on to a lot of water in their leaves, which is why you don't need to water them too much, or they will get overwatered and dreaded root rot can occur. But yeah, they're succulent-like, even though they're not succulent, 100% at least. But they are stunning plants, and I really wanted to go with a white pot for this because I just feel like that will bounce off of the colors of the silver with it. This Sansevieria moonshine. Okay, I think that's the direction I want it to go in. So now comes the part where I'm now going to take a little bit more soil, and I'm going to put it around the sides to help fill it up along those sides so those roots can continue to grow, continue to be healthy, and this plant can be happy, because that's what we want from more plants, right? We just want them to be happy. I have to tell you, I was when I was doing research for this video, I didn't realize that there were 60 Sansevieria type species, but it makes sense when I think about it, because there are so many different kinds of shapes that these leaves come in. You have ones that are just kind of like very prehistoric that look like almost like triceratops horns or something like that. And I have one of those, and recently gave one of the twisted ones to a friend after I propagated it and made it into a new plant. Such easy plants to just propagate and make into new ones. And the fact that they are easy to care for plants, they make for really great gifts. Now, I will say this. If you are a plant person, the worst gift that you could possibly get a plant person is a plant. Because you don't know if that's the plant they want, if they have any knowledge about it, if it's anything that they were interested in, or if this is just, you know, something they're like, oh great, now just another plant to add to my collection when I already have too much. Trust me, I have too many. I do love it though when it's like a wish plant or something that, you know, you have been looking for a while, and all of a sudden, like, it's a nice gift that pops up. And I've received a few of those from some really dear friends, and I appreciate them all. Wow, I believe that we have our first plant. Oh, it's got a little baby leaf coming out of the middle too. So basically, I'm just going to give it a little bit of water and clean off this pot, and then it will be ready to go. Yay! And then we're going to go on to our second plant. And this here is the second plant, the second of my favorite grocery store finds that I got while I was at the King Soopers yesterday. This is an Alocasia cucullata, and it is absolutely stunning. Its leaves caught me off guard, and that's what I'm really big into is foliage. and I absolutely love them. They kind of remind me of a Syngonium chiapense. But again, I do want to remove this from its soil that it came in because I don't like it. And I don't think it likes it either. So we're just going to break this apart like we did with that Sansevieria Moonshine, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, another good aspect of the Sansevieria Moonshine is the fact that it is pretty pest resistant. I mean, if anything, it might deal with mealybugs, but it's not one of those plants that really has to deal with pests too often. So that is a good thing. Of course, with this Alocasia cuculata, Alocasia are so well known for dealing with spider bites, which are the worst, and they're such a pain in the you-know-what. So we're going to move this over here. This one has really healthy roots also, which is super exciting. And this plant is nicknamed Buddha's Palm, and it is known for bringing good luck. And I will take that good luck as it comes because, you know, I guess it was good luck kind of finding these plants too because they're really beautiful. This was only $16.99 for such a large plant like this. I couldn't believe it. I was baffled. I'm going to dunk this though in some water so I can try to get some of that soil loosened from around the side. It's more of like a peat moss base that these mass plant producers put the plants in, because when they ship them, you know, they can often be on the road for days before they end up at the grocery store or wherever they're going, a retailer, etc. And so they put in this peat moss because it retains water really well. But the problem is that in doing so, after a couple of days or so, you're going to deal with everyone's worst nightmare, root rot. I can't get over how beautiful those roots are, though. Take a look at those. I mean, those are some stunning roots. What I might do is actually just try to chip away at the top part because I don't want to damage the roots. And then I'm just going to move this off to the side over yonder and give myself some more working space. There we go. And I'm going to put in a base layer here. This, which also serves as a decent, you know, chunky mix for aeroids. I'm going to plop this in there with its roots like so, but I do have some rooting hormone that I could also throw on there. And, ooh, a little spoon fell out. It's not happy. Cool. Dunk some of this in there. Then plop this baby in. Make sure its roots are able to roam around. Roam free, little roots. Roam free. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to do what we did with the Sansevieria Moonshine, and we're just going to fill up around its sides. I did add some extra perlite in here just to give it some more aeration, though if you've ever had Alocasia or worked with Alocasia, you do know that they like to be have a little bit of moist soil. And by moist, I don't mean like wet soil because they don't want to deal with root rot. It's kind of like about finding a really healthy, good balance with them. And I'm hoping, as we smack it around to make sure that soil gets in between there, I believe, friends, that we should be good. Okay. And since this still had a lot of its original soil in there, I'm going to just only water it a little bit, just so it gets a little situated in there. I really like this pot, and I've had this pot for a while now. I was just looking for a plant to put in it. I think this is perfect for it. And those rhizomes look great. So yeah, this is it. This is our Alocasia calculata, also known as the Buddha's Palm, for good luck. And now, because we have our two grocery store finds, which together, by the way, were about $27 total. Can't go wrong with plants like these. I mean, they're absolutely stunning. But I will always keep an eye out when I'm at the grocery grocery stores or at any place else. I'm going to give this some water and situate it somewhere and wash off its leaves. But I just want to thank you guys so much for watching again. You guys are so awesome for joining me on this plant journey. And we get to learn a lot from each other. And I love your comments, so please keep them going. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by just hitting that button down there in the lower corner. And also give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out a lot. I'll see you guys in the next video.